What's going on, YouTube? I'm here to continue the videos on the importance of becoming a plumber and how to become a plumber in today's society. So this video in particular is going to be geared more towards how to get your foot in the door as a plumber, or even like where to begin and how to get started in the plumbing field. Uh, like I said before, this is going to be for anybody really, whether you're a high school student or even if you're a college student and maybe you're figuring that college isn't the route for you, or you don't even want to go to college and you just want to try something different, maybe something mechanical, something where you can get a skill that you're never going to lose and you could take it wherever you want to go with you. And this can also even be for people who, whether you've gone to college or haven't, maybe you're a little bit older, you've had different careers and you want to change it up. This is really good, especially for people who have gotten into auto mechanics or motorcycle mechanics or really any mechanical field, period. And even if you're somebody who growing up, you like to tinker with things, tear things apart, you put things together, create and design things, you've already got your foot in the door for being on the right path. I would say this probably isn't a good career choice for somebody who isn't mechanical or doesn't have the ability to be creative or take apart things and figure out how things work and putting them back together. You're not going to have fun in this field if you can't do that. That's something that you got to have, and it's more natural for some of us than it is for others. If you're somebody, anybody could figure it out really if you put your mind to it, and that's what it comes down to. But really getting started in plumbing is pretty easy, especially nowadays because there's such a huge demand for plumbers, at least for good plumbers. There's a huge demand for us, and especially where I'm at out here. Like I said, I'm out here in Ohio. There's not enough good plumbers out here. There's a huge shortage, and there's a lot of older guys in the field that are getting ready to retire, and it's making the workload crazy. And that's a big part of the thing too that I've been reiterating is the amount of money that you can make as a plumber out here these days is absolutely incredible. And for those of you who are mechanical, you'd be missing a big opportunity by not learning it, especially at a young age. But getting started, the best thing you could do really is reaching out to people, doing a little bit of research and finding out who your local plumbing companies are, plumbing companies in the city where you live, and reaching out to them. I'll tell you this just from experience. Even if a plumbing company or mechanical company that you want to work at, they might not be posting that they're necessarily hiring at the time. But I guarantee you, if you call them and you spit the right game to them and you let them know that you're serious and you really want to get into the trade and learn it, I guarantee that they'll take you on. Most people will not turn away a good plumber or somebody that's willing to learn. And that's mainly because there's just not enough people out there nowadays that want to do that stuff. For too long now, the schools have been pushing, you got to go to college if you want to be successful, got to go to college, when realistically, especially for plumbing, you don't need any college to do it. Me personally, I did 4 years of college. I got a degree in business. Now that I'm able to use in the plumbing field because one of my end goals and something that I've started is having my own business. Now, currently at the time, I do have my own business, but I also work full time for somebody. Eventually, I'll get to the point where my business is big enough that I can go full time on my own. And I'll have more videos elaborating how I took the steps to go the route that I went into building myself up over the years that would be a beneficial route for some of you guys to go as well too, who want to start your own plumbing business. But getting started, just reach out to companies and just cold call them. You could do that or even walk into their places. If they have like an open door policy where regular people can go in, call, set an appointment, do something like that. What else can you do? And that's going to be more for, I guess, you guys that are wanting to get into service plumbing or working for the smaller companies, or even, the bigger companies like the Rooters and the B. Franklins, those kind of guys. you could go that route with it too. Now, and that's for non-union. If you wanted to get into union, then what you need to do is you need to go to what they call the hall, and you would have to just do some research, figure out what plumbing unions there are in your area. There's going to be some companies that are set up with the union. Others are going to be like the hall, where it's like your big guys that do all the commercial stuff, like down in the city and stuff like that. I guess that's the other thing you really got to consider is what side of the plumbing field do you want to be in? Because that's the other thing where you just have a multitude of options. Like I discussed before, you've got your service plumbers, you've got your new construction plumbers, you've got your commercial guys, your residential, your industrial. But the process for getting those jobs are essentially the same. You don't necessarily need to know anybody. You just need to know the companies that are out there that do the kind of work, and you can figure out from some of these companies just by calling them the type of work that they do. If you're somebody that wants to do residential service, you can find some of the smaller guys or even some of the little bit larger companies that just deal with service plumbing. If you want to get more into the commercial end of it, you got to do a little bit more research to figure out which companies tend to deal more with commercial. And that's where, going into the union, they're typically going to deal more with commercial than they are residential. The other thing too that you really want to consider is where you want to go with it, because it's a lot more than just being a service plumber, somebody out there fixing stuff or just installing pipes and plumbing fixtures. You could get into the sales end of it, or even into the managerial side of it, where you're running the crews and the guys and bidding on the jobs. And that's where more money comes into play too. See, and that's the nice thing about plumbing. Once you get your foot in the door, you can keep climbing that ladder and working your way up. And it's a lot easier, when you're a good plumber and you know what you're doing and you work for a good company that will allow you to move up. That's where the benefits really roll in and you start making that real cash. The other thing too is, if one of your goals is eventually to have your own business, I would advise you still need to work for somebody and at least put a couple years in and learn the field and figure out exactly what you're doing. That way, when you're running the business, you know what you guys are out there doing, and you know that they're doing the job they're supposed to be doing. This isn't the type of business you want to get into and not know it at all. It's not going to work out for you. I can tell you that right now. But yeah, I'll keep it simple on this one. Just getting started. Just reach out to companies, do your research, figure out what companies are in your area, cold call them. Walk over to the shop. You could even go to what we call supply houses, the places that sell plumbing material. That's another career path you could go to, and that'll teach you the material side of it, is working at some of these yards. Now, you're not going to make as much money as you would on the plumbing end of it, but it's still a way to get your foot in the door, and you can still get hired in other companies that way, especially companies obviously that use that supply house. They'll get to know your name and become familiar with you. That'll open up the door that way for it. But I guarantee you, if you go in with the right attitude and you show that you want to learn, whether you have any plumbing skills or not, somebody will take you in for sure, without a doubt. I've never had a problem with it. I know a lot of people up here that haven't had a problem with that. As long as you show that you're serious and that you can show that you know how to twist a wrench, because that's going to be the biggest thing. If you don't know how to turn a wrench, or you can't comprehend mechanical components and taking them apart and picking them together, then it might not be a good career for you. But that's something where, you can dwell into the books a little bit and try and figure it out, I guess. And if you come up with a mechanical mindset, realize that you have that, then jump into it. Don't be afraid of it. The only thing that's stopping you is you at the end of the day. So reach out to those companies, try and get yourself a job, get yourself a foot in the door. Like I said, just consider whether you want to do union or non-union. Pay scale is going to be a little bit different. But I'll have another video that elaborates more on the pay scales and different ways you can make different money, and whether you just want to be on the short end of it or be a potential to have a large amount of money becoming a plumber. Like I said, I'll touch on that later. But that'll conclude this video. Look out for me. I'll be posting plenty more. It's good talking to you guys.